it's stuff I wanted to do. So I thought my next one, I wanted to be fully healed, which I am fully healed. And I wasn't traumatized. It was nothing dramatic or nothing like that. But it's just like I want to be able to stand by everything I say, and I want to keep the attention. And I feel like it's just me saying to you, do this, do that, and not really gonna listen.
Welcome to another exclusive on NC Network. As you guys know, we've done close to 60 podcasts this summer, but we always drop a few specials. And I've got a special guest here, a lady who is very well knowledgeable. She gives a lot of life skills, a lot of experience in life, and she's got her own podcast. It's Stacey from Speaking with Stacey on Spotify, may I add. How you doing, Stacey? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you very much. Today I made peace with someone, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very good.
Am I allowed to ask what the piece was, or?
Oh, absolutely. I've got a relative who I haven't spoken to in 9 years, and we fell out over something very, very silly. And I thought one day I'm going to be the better man and pick up the phone and call her. And I just didn't get around to doing it. It wasn't a case of I can't be bothered. I wanted to do it, but I just didn't get. You know, when one thing leads to another, you're doing this, you're doing that. And 9 years pass, right? And today I was just driving towards my parents' house to pick up my daughter, and she was there, about to cross the road.
Been on your mind? Had been on your mind?
I'd say so, yeah. The past 2-3 weeks, yeah. I see. I'm a believer in all that energy, man.
Definitely not a coincidence, that.
No, I don't think anything in life is a coincidence, in all fairness. But anyway, long and short of it is, I pulled over. I said hello. She was quite shocked. It was just the usual small talk, you know, how's the family, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, listen, my door's always open. If you want to come round, okay.
Oh.
And just left it at that. But yeah, good.
That's good.
So yeah.
Funny you say that, because I got a message off someone the other day, and he wanted to do that with someone in his family as well. And he was trying to get a number, and I was like, I couldn't help him because I wasn't in touch with anyone he was in touch with. But life's too short. You know, my Nana and Granda, right, back in the day, obviously, they didn't speak for 9 years and still lived in the same house. 9 years, well. And then I really regretted it, because my Granda got poorly and then she started speaking to him again. And me growing up, I was going into my Nana and Granda's house, and I'd see my Nana and my auntie in the kitchen, see my Granda in the sitting room. So then when he got poorly, she looked after him again and fell in love all over again. It's crazy. And at the end of their life, they said that's the biggest regret, doing that, not speaking. That's something so stupid.
Well, it makes you wonder, because I think as we get older, we see perspective in a different light than when you're younger. You know, you feel when you're in your 20s, you go out, you go drinking, you do whatever it is that you need to do, but you don't really think about life in general. But then as you get older, I think we realize that we've taken a lot of people for granted in our lives. And I still have got to make peace with a lot of people, but there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place for that. So
a lot of though, isn't it? A lot of it's ego. It's like, I'm not talking to that one because of this. And sometimes you've just got to drop the ego and be like, I don't care. I've got a funny story, actually, I'll tell you. And basically, my ex-boyfriend, I met one of my best friends through him, right? And I loved her. Like, this was his only girlfriend he had, and I met her and I loved her. Fast forward like 5-6 years on, they're now together, right? It was nothing. I had been broke up with them. Them two, they just grew close and whatever, and they're now together and they're happy and whatever. And at first, I was so bothered about what people would say, in the sense of thinking she was a shit friend, and she's not. She's one of the best friends in the world. So when it was happening, I ended up like going a little bit funny. And anyway, she had a health scare, and that health scare, I was like, because people were in my ear saying she's not a good friend, and I was thinking, oh, why would I stop their happiness? Like, they like each other. She's my best friend. I still care for him because he was one of my best friends growing up. Why would I be selfish when I don't want to be with him? Do you know what I mean? Why would I split that up? All because of what people were saying, ego, pride. And I was like, I'm dropping that, because all I care about was her and her happiness, really. I'm not, obviously, I don't speak to him, because it's an awkward situation. Do you know what I mean? But me and her, it's never affected us. But it's all to do with ego and pride. Like,
well, this is it. This is it. I think you're bang on, and I think the other thing is the lack of self-awareness in people these days. You've got so many different things like your social medias and everything, and it adds fuel to the fire. You always tend to see people saying, "Oh, this one is doing this and this one's doing that." Well, how do you know? I saw it on Instagram. I've been working in social media for 14 years, right? And I tell everyone, social media is your blank canvas, and you can paint that picture.
Man, this is my whole point of this podcast that I'm doing, right? And more my TikTok. Instagram hasn't really taken off. I forget about it. And I've got 2 young kids, 2 daughters. I mean, one's 16, one's 9. I don't want them looking on social media and thinking that's real life. It's a click of a button out of a day. That is it. I was in a bar once, right? I'll not forget this. And I'm sitting just like looking. I wasn't drinking nothing. And there's a table full of people. And there's this lad. And they're all on the phones, right? And this lad goes, use. And the minute he does that, they'll go, woo! Right? The minute that phone went down, they stopped back on the fake. So whoever was looking on that story and seeing them look like they're having a really good time, wasn't? I witnessed it. I was like, wow, this is mad. This is what they do. Social media.
Well, look, these are the things that you discuss on your pod. What made you want to start doing this? Was there anything in your life that happened you thought, you know what, I want to get this off my chest, or you just felt like doing it?
Also, all my life, I hung around with a lot of lads growing up, a lot of like men, boys, and I was obviously friends with girls, friends with boys. I was that girl in the middle who was setting them up. Do you know what I mean? And they used to call us Trish. Do you know if you remember Trisha?
Like Trisha. Very good.
Call us Trish.
Very good.
Back, you know, Trish, and so I would be this like peacemaker between the boys and girls all the time. And I've just always been that person people like come to speak to. Anyway, I've obviously got my own business, and I'm a beautician. I do lashes all day, every day. And everyone says I'm like a therapist. But then look, everyone kept saying you need a podcast, like, 'cause I make people laugh all the time, and you know, and I tell people how it is, and I'm very independent. I'm one of these girls that's like, I don't need no man. Do you know what I mean? And I'm trying to show kids like you don't need one, because obviously there's a lot of girls now who I think like drug dealer boyfriends are massive at the minute, crime's massive, and this generation, especially where I'm from, that is what they think like you need to do, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I just kept getting signs about podcasting, like all my tarot cards and that was saying basically guiding us to that, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I did, and I put it on Spotify, and my impressions were massive. And then I kept getting messages, and I didn't have no other social media to do with speaking with Stacey. So I then made the TikTok, which is slowly creeping up. And then Instagram, it's crazy because Instagram, I think I've only got like 300 followers. And this is what, again, it goes back to like people in your area seem to not want to support you. So like I'll speak to people, I get pulled at the gym, oh, I listen to your podcast, or I get messages of people, and I'm like, I bet you don't even follow us. Do you know what I mean? So it's again, it just goes to show that you can get somewhere in life without having a massive following and stuff as well. Again, just showing social media, it's fake. So this is why I'm on here now. I've just been on the bath. I've just lasered my face before I go on here because I can't sit still. So I've ended up like putting laser on my face. I'm dead red. I want to be the camera and just show realness and real life, like in the sense of like relationships and stuff as well. I'm like, don't do this, but I have been a mug in the past, and I'm saying like, don't be a mug with men and stuff like that. I have done that, so I've learned from it, and I'm just trying to guide. But as I'm doing it, I'm healing myself and learning myself. Do you know what I mean? So that's just where it comes from, really.
Well, this is it. I mean, I've listened to. I wouldn't say I've listened to all of your shows. I'm not going to lie, but I've listened to a few of them, and you're very, very eloquent in how you put things. And while some people might think, oh, it's just someone talking on their own, I can tell the positivity that you're projecting and what you're trying to do in terms of changing. I wouldn't say necessarily changing a culture, but trying to turn people's heads and think, do you know what? What you see on social media, what you see on television, isn't real life. Real life is when you open your front door and go out, what you see on the streets, what you see from your next door neighbor. And it's all about self-awareness. And I think there needs to be more people like you, because I'll be honest with you, Stacey, I'm not going to go on too long about this, but what you tend to find is a lot of people on social media that like to talk about motivation, all that kind of stuff. It's mostly for the clout. And I can tell what you're doing is genuine, because you've had those experiences where you've either had to maybe call on other people for help, or maybe learn yourself, or even give people the advice to push forward. Am I right?
Yeah, and the thing is, I was pregnant at 16 with my oldest daughter. I was pregnant at 16. I've come from no qualifications from school, and it just goes to show, like, all my family, there was 4 were growing up. All my brother and my sisters then went to uni. But then I was the first one. They were all to buy me car, buy me house. Like, I've achieved so much, and I want to show people, like, you can do that. But it's not easy, you know. And half the time, I hate to say this, right? Half the time that boyfriend or girlfriend you've got when you're 16 isn't your forever. And like, it's so easy to be caught up in it and be, oh no, like, it's really not. Don't feel like you're stuck, because we're still so young for such a long time. I look back at when I'm like 24, 26, and I die at the stuff I done with my ex-partners, and I kick off, and I'm like, wow, like, who was that woman? And you're not a woman, you're still growing, you're still learning. But like, when you're 16 or even 14, I would say, you still feel like you're an adult, and you know what's like, I know best and stuff, and life gets better. And you're never too old to start again. So that's what I'm just saying. In like relationships, like, I've had good relationships and I've had bad ones, and they're all lessons. And so that's the only way I would say is it's up to you what you choose. I think I put something on the other day saying, and I had seen it, you're only as good as the partner you choose. Now, if you take offence at that, then you shouldn't be with that person you're with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, I always hear, tell me or show me who your friends are, and I'll show you what kind of person you are. But I don't think that's necessarily true. And I'll tell you why, because... Go on, Karen.
I don't agree with that, only because I've been tarnished growing up with some of my friends, because, like, I say where I'm from might be like, they might look like criminals and whatever. And they're like, God, I remember I went for a meal once with 3 of me male friends, and they were all in tracksuits and stuff. And I was like, not dolled up, but like, I had my makeup on, my furry jacket. And someone went, oh, I wouldn't imagine you to hang around with them. And I thought, well, do you know what it is? Like, I'm judging you because they're the best people in the world. And like, other people might have the opinions of them, but it made them very good people. Do you know what I mean? And they're like my dear ones. So I think you shouldn't judge your friends. Or I heard once, like, I had a friend that slept around a lot, so I must have been a slag. Far from the truth. Like, and it's like, I'm not going to not hang around with her just because she's got that reputation, because she's a really lovely person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, I try and see both sides of the fence here. And on the one hand, I completely agree with you. Just because your friend or acquaintance is a certain way inclined doesn't mean that you are. But I think also there's this, I don't know, underlying stigma attached, where it's, especially with women, and I'm sorry to say this because that's the way of the world at the moment anyway, and I don't think it will change for a while, that if there is a group of girls, and let's say there's 4 of them and 3 of them are known to be a little bit promiscuous, the one that isn't, because she's within that circle, immediately she's tarred with that very same brush. But this is a mentality that's been going on for a very, very long time anyway. So I don't think it's ever going to, well, it will go away eventually, but that's because people are becoming more and more liberal, which is understandable. But in terms of your podcast itself, you only do like 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Is there any reason for this, or maybe you want to extend it?
For people, I want to bring people on. I don't want people to think it's just my advice and my opinions. So basically, my first podcast, I was going through a situation with somebody, and so I was healing as well, and I was giving a lot of advice where I was saying, like, don't go back and don't do this. Yeah, I was going back, right? So, but then it's stuff I wanted to do. So I thought, my next one, I want to just be fully healed, which I am fully healed, and And I wasn't traumatized. It was nothing dramatic or nothing like that. But it's just like, I want to be able to stand by everything I say. And I want to keep the attention. And I feel like it's just me saying to you, do this, do that. They're not really going to listen. And I haven't got like, my brain doesn't like a bored easy. So like, if I'm listening to a podcast for like 20 minutes, I'm like, right, get that off. Terrible. So I just want to be that person that seems to like go on a little bit. And I feel
That's
like when you're talking to someone else on the podcast, you can have like a little bit like of a war, different opinions. I done a little TikTok the other day about icks and my clients and that we disagreed on stuff. It's good. I like to disagree.
I saw a couple of those videos, to be honest, and I think it's very clever what you're doing, because while you're doing your job, you're recording yourself. Clearly, your client may not want to be on the camera, or maybe you feel you don't want them there for their protection, which is understandable. But I think people can relate to it. And there are a lot of women that like to get their nails done and their hair done. And look, it's like when men go to the barbershop. I can't talk. I ain't got any hair. I shave my head. So I do it myself. I don't go to a barbershop. But what I'm saying is girls will go to a hairdressing salon, or they go to a beautician or whoever, and they will just talk like men do when they go to the barbershop. And that's a real life situation. Now, this show or this channel is effectively quite big in Cyprus, the island where my family's from. We've got loads of viewers from out there, and we do have females that actually subscribe to this channel, and I'm sure they can relate to everything. So at the same time, I think your podcast has got a lot of potential. It's got a lot of potential, and I think this is something that you need to continue building on. Keep working on your content, but don't forget to tell whoever you're on TikTok that you have this pod, so they can listen to you with more cohesion, I guess, or clarity.
Yeah, I've had people book in with us for facials and stuff just to speak to us, through my advice on my podcast and stuff. I seen a girl today at the gym and she was upset, and I was like, "Are you all right?" And she went, "Yeah." And she went, "I just, when you bottle things up, I went, feel your feels." She went, "I know, I've listened to your podcast." And I went, "Honestly," I was like, "take my advice and you'll feel better for it." She was like, "No, I'm going to." And I was like, not only this, right? This podcast is making me stronger. My daughter's 16, and she got a message off one of her friends saying, "Hannah, you're so lucky to have a mum like yours. She's such an inspiration." And it's mad because Hannah looks at her life and she's allowed to do all sorts. She goes out and, she's had like work done to her and stuff. And she thought that she was really happy with her mum. And like, she's looking at like Hannah and being envious of me, which I was like, your mum's cool. But like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice. You wouldn't believe how many young girls messages, 16 and under, saying about boundaries, about lads, and it's like, wow. That's what I want to make people feel
the
good
thing
about.
Is, Stacey, you mentioned earlier that when you started doing your podcast, you didn't really get much support from people within your area. And I can understand where you're coming from, because I had something similar at the beginning. A lot of my friends were supportive, but again, people within my community, let's just put it that way, didn't really care. But the thing is, when you see, or when you look at the analytics, where your podcast is being heard, who's looking at your content, where people are messaging you from, that gives you that added motivation to carry on, right?
Totally. And that's, it's just such a small town. There's a whole world out there. And when it shows you on Spotify, other countries that are listening, it's like, wow, why do I care about people around here? Because when it does take off, because it is, I just think, don't then, you might follow us, but I won't follow you back if that is the case, to me friends or whoever. You know what I mean? The ones who aren't supporting.
Have you had any hate on social media?
I'm always getting slagged off, saying I'm moaning. I don't understand how I'm moaning when I'm motivating. I just think it's always men. Men are always going on at us on TikTok. I do. Not of girls. Girls are lovely.
The thing is, listen to your stuff. You don't trash men. It's like, in fact, it's almost as you step aside from talking about men, and you're more into helping the women get a better understanding of themselves and perspective in life. I can see why there's haters, because I get it myself. It's either jealousy or attention seeking, or just men that maybe take a fancy to you, and because you're not showing them the attention that they want, they just turn it into this aggression so you can fight back and they get some kind of attention from it. It's weird. It really is.
Men and women are different, and I feel like if men listen to my podcast sometimes, they might understand me a little bit more. For example, my friend had an argument with her boyfriend last night, and I said, what was it for? So he went for a pint with his brother, and she said, I'll stay out. Now that means get home. Do not stay out. If your girlfriend is saying to you, I'll stay for another pint, it means she'll get yours home now. Because if you decide to stay out, hell on, you decide to stay out. Hell on, door was locked. So I'm like, how are men this thick, right? But then also, like I say, I've got a lot of lad friends, and I know that they just don't think. Some of them just generally don't think. And so I try and like, I meet in the middle. I had a client once, and a boyfriend cheated on her. But I know my client, and I know what she's like, and she'd go out and just stay out all weekend and stuff. And I ended up saying to her, look, I'm going to have to look at your boyfriend's side of things here. If a girl's giving him attention when you aren't going home, he's going to take it. Now, it's not because he doesn't love you. It's more for the simple fact that you are literally making him feel like shit and you're leaving him. And she respected us for that. And because he was begging her back and she did want to go. And they did get back together and they're fine. But like, all our other friends are saying, fuck him off, get rid of him. And I was like, I've got to look at it from the man's point of view, yeah, and be like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's so easy for heads to get turned. And I say this to every relationship as well. If you aren't putting the work in a relationship, that's where things extend and go cheating, and which I don't agree with, but it happens. And you can understand as well when they're in them situations. Do you know what I mean? I can.
Yeah. Well, look, I think again, this goes back to just normal human mentality, and it's a little bit funny how these days you tend to have, I'll say it's a little bit funny, it's not funny at all. You go on social media and you have, I don't know, these feminists that are anti-men, and then you've got these men that are anti-women, and there doesn't seem to be any balance. You know, you go on TikTok especially. I mean, forget Twitter. Twitter is the biggest cesspit out there. But TikTok is more interactive, I'd say, and obviously got the visual with it being mostly video, in fact, all being video. And you're scrolling, and you've got this one, oh, I hate men, and this one, I hate women. And then you've got someone that is coming up with stories that are clearly fake. And you're just sitting there thinking, is this what the world's come to? Like, why can't people see logic? I've always believed that logic supersedes emotion. Because when you're working simply off emotion, you're going to dig yourself a big hole. Big hole. But when you're thinking logically, and look, I know we're human, right? We all make mistakes. But at the same time, sometimes I say to my daughter, she's 10 years old, I say, listen, when you say something, you can't unsay it. It's like when you hear something, you can't unhear it. And you see something, you can't unsee it. So you need to be very, very logical. But again, I'm talking about a 10-year-old that is still developing. So maybe I'm talking to myself, really.
Full guidance. But I'll never forget, one of my ex-boyfriends said to me, I used to say, do you know, if I want to have a little bitch and stuff, and he wouldn't join in, right? And I'd be like, I'm ranting to you. And he said, whatever you say always gets held against you. So you've got to be careful about what you say. And I thought, wow, it's probably the smartest thing he ever said. Actually, no, he said something else, which I think a lot of people need to hear. And he had said, we can all see what's in front of us. So this is where men and women, do you know, like, they don't need to say, oh, she's pretty, or hey, do you think she's pretty, or do you think he's pretty? Oh yeah, good looking. Because the truth is, we've all got eyes. You know, we can see what's in front of us. And I like that saying as well. I always say that to people. I think I've put them on a few clips. You know, like, you can be walking along with your girlfriend, and you can be like, your girlfriend can go, think she's pretty, do you? Well, you know he does, because you do. You know, like, if I see a pretty girl, I know if I've got a boyfriend, they're going to be thinking the exact same. Do you know what I mean?
But again, that's human nature, though. Men are going to look, women are going to look. Doesn't mean anything is going to happen.
I think some of the most pretty people out there have got the most shittest personalities. You know, like, looks aren't everything.
Well, do you think that shitty personality has been created as a result of the attention they get on social media, so their egos become inflated?
I think that some people get so self-obsessed that they lose a self. And they care that much about what people are looking at. For example, I knew a girl, and she broke up with her boyfriend, and she was stunning, absolutely stunning. And she said she hides herself, and I'm not joking, my best figure I've seen. And hides herself in the bedroom. And I think he cheated on her. And she was like, he's seen who he's cheated on us with. And I thought, I bet she's got confidence. That's the difference. You are so beautiful, you know it, that you hide it. Like, it's got your head mashed to the point where you don't feel comfortable in front of your boyfriend because it's all about looking good all the time. In their relationship, you end up cheating on her with like a bigger girl who she said wasn't pretty. She was a beautiful girl, but because she didn't have the body and stuff, this girl's being nasty about her. And I just thought, like, you know, again, Instagram, you look unreal, and that is who you are behind the screen. You might get the photo of the angles, but really your boyfriend doesn't even see that in the house. Social media.
Well, let me ask you something then. I know that you're an opinionated person, and it's not a bad thing. Okay, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But have you ever encountered an occasion, whether it be on your podcast or maybe even when you're giving someone advice, that you perhaps, in hindsight, maybe you shouldn't have said that or given that opinion?
I always say things I shouldn't have said.
Okay.
Always. And I think, why did I say that? And it's like, I haven't got a filter. And it's just said before I ever unsaid it. So, but truthfully, I do half of the time stand by what I say.
Well,
and
look,
I do feel like I say a lot of things that other people are thinking.
Well, but see, this is it. Because you say things that other people are thinking, immediately you're the bad person because you shouldn't have said that.
I've been out before and I've said something, and my friends haven't agreed with us because they don't want to get wrong with their boyfriends or something. And then they're like, yeah, when a date said that, but I agree. And I'm like, so I'm the arsehole. Like, I'm not going to sit and nod for anybody, not really. Like, I'm 33-year-old. I'm not going to, I'm not in school. You know, we've all got our opinions, and it's fine. You don't need to fall out over it.
Yeah. I think you and I are very similar in the sense that if something needs to be said, we're going to say it.
Of course. And that's the whole point in social media and stuff. I done one of my TikToks went viral, and it was about a man, and he was like messaging us and stuff. And then I've went on social media and seen like he's got a girlfriend and stuff. And I just thought, like, scumbag, absolute scumbag. Like, because the truth is, just say I spoke to him and I met him and went on a date or whatever, and this girlfriend found out, I'd be the slut. I'd be the one she hated. And it's him who's doing it. So I just out it. Like, or someone messaged my friend, that one went viral. So I was like, why do men think it's all right to do that? So it's always when I'm griefing a man that it goes viral and I end up I get hate. But it's just like, what men don't understand, right, is women talk just like men talk. So, like, when you're always in the inbox, you're getting slated for it. So I'm trying to guide the men as well. I'm not trying to, like, just be horrible. I'm trying to say, listen, I'm helping you out here. Stop it. You know, I'm giving you a little tip.
Is that the worst thing that you've ever encountered?
What? On TikTok?
Yeah, with the private messaging from blokes that have got girlfriends and all that, or have you had worse?
Oh yeah, they send pictures and stuff. I've got men asking if they can pay us. I often get that kind of buy you things. And like, do you know what it is? Again, it's the therapist in it. I've ended up like speaking to one and saying like, what's your background? Why do you want to do this? And then I done a TikTok on that. I don't know if I had done a TikTok on that. And I basically felt sorry for him. So he got abused and bullied all his life, that it makes him feel good now for someone to abuse him. And I was like, sorry, I'm not going to get paid to do that because that's not me as a person. Maybe get therapy, you know, or get a bit friend if that's the case. But yeah, messages all. I've got someone at the minute, and he's begging us all the time to like give him a chance. Like, but he's an older man, and I'm like, very much older than me. Like, I don't, and I'm not answering back. But then I don't know if I should say this, but I don't know if he's got something wrong with him or something, because I just don't know why. Okay. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mean to be rude, but
the problem is, Stacey, I think when you're doing a podcast and you've got a social media channel, and like right now, I'll give you an example. You've got is that your logo in the background, your company logo or something? Yeah. There are a lot of people, and listen, take this from experience. There are a lot of people on social media that would see that logo and they will do as much research as they can to find out who you are. They'll go on the HMRC website. They'll look for the name of your company. Like I said, I work in this environment, so I kind of know how to. Do you know what I mean? So what they would do is they would try and find your full name, try to find your company name. Then if you're registered with HMRC, they find your address or the address linked to your company. You got nutcases out there, and that's the danger of social media. It's worse than what people think it is.
Well, yeah, because especially on TikTok now, you can see who's viewed your profile. And I get a person all the time, and they've got 000. So they're searching us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what is going on? And that is it. And they're like, can I book in for treatments and stuff? And I'm like, absolutely not. Because like, I know you're looking at me stuff all the time.
But doesn't that not scare you though?
Well, maybe it should, but it doesn't. But if I thought about it for too long, yeah, it would.
See, I don't want to put that sow the seed of doubt in your mind. Don't get me wrong, but I think, look, I'll give you an example. There's another girl that's on social media who I know, and she opened up a restaurant. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say which city it is or which town it is in. And I said to her, if you're going to do TikTok videos in your restaurant, just make sure you don't have your company logo or anything that gives clues as to where you are. Because the moment they find out, and the worst thing about it was she was doing a TikTok live, and she mentioned that she had a certain amount of money invested into the business, and she gave the city, not the part of but the actual city. All you had to do was type in the name of the city and have a much million investment, and it gives you 5 or 6 news articles because she was in the local press. And I said, so you need to be very careful, because if you've got a weirdo that takes a fancy to you and you're ignoring him, he might come down to your restaurant, he might follow you after work. It's dangerous, man.
It is, and it is really hard as a girl, right? It doesn't matter, especially this day and age. Like, a lot of men think it's so acceptable on social media to say things that I find isn't acceptable to say, and it's very awkward. And I'm very I've been in trouble for this before. One of my exes said you're very naive and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm just polite. And they're like, they're being inappropriate. So like, to say I've been in the gym, and someone's like, oh, you can tell you've been training your ass to look men. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's not nice. Like, why am I saying thank you? It should be like, that's inappropriate. But then I just because I think the person's canny. I don't want to say that. But that's where like you need to put boundaries in place and be like, too far. Don't do that. But this is what men do. It's so bad. I don't think you men actually know how bad social media is for getting messages and stuff.
Well, look, I'm gonna flip it a little bit. And again, I'm not going to turn around and say, well, it's women's fault because this is how men are. No, everyone's wired different. But you will have a lot of females on social media that are quite attractive. And forget all the photographs and all the raunchy videos that they may do. It's when you see the bio and you read the bio and it's like single so-and-so, and then you've got the Amazon wish list website. And I'm thinking, all right, is this kind of prostitution? Is this something that you want to make money out of? I don't know. But then you've got these weirdo blokes that think that because one woman has this, if they see a female with similar attributes or similar looks or similar age range, immediately they're the same as the previous one. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I know. It's like, again, it's about judging, isn't it? And like, it's like you should never judge a book. I've been pulled before saying that I look like I said that I think I'm better than everyone or something, and it couldn't be so far. But I was in a bar and someone got us a shot, and I was like, oh no, I was like, give it to this girl, She's like, you think you're better than everyone. I was like, truth is, I probably just had my Botox and I couldn't move my head. And I was like, like, actually, I've got a client I'm really close to, and I don't want to give her a patch test, and she said when she went, literally, she went, I thought she's going to be stuck up CUNT. And she went, I've met yet, and she was like, you're the biggest ranchie I've met. And I was like, love it. I'd rather get called any day than be known as stuck up, because it's something I'm not. So it's easy. Someone asked us out once, and there's a place in town in Newcastle, and it's like where you go, and they assumed I loved all the like posh places and stuff, and I'm not even joking. I haven't really been in them, just not my scene. And I was like, nah, you couldn't be so far from my reality at all. That's not what I do. But again, it all comes down to judging social media. Again, it's a click of a button. I look like every weekend, right? I could be somewhere, I could put like a wine on or put my friends, and I'm never out, never actually out. It's all Instagram. It's people have no idea. My social media looks like I've just got this easy outgoing life, and I've actually got a really hard life. My daughter, it's really hard, and until people know us and they understand, they're like, wow, I can't believe you've got it like that. And I'm like, why would you? Like, oh, they go, yeah, I didn't know it was as bad as that. And I'm thinking, well, why would you know? Because if I did put that on my social media, no one's really interested. You know what I mean? No one's a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, what I will say, Stacey, is that, you know, following you on social media as long as I have done, obviously your videos pop up on my feeds and all that. And not once have I turned around and said, this girl's looking for attention. This girl is doing anything that can encourage men to message her inappropriately and all that kind of stuff. It's weird how people's mentality is. Now, again, I'm going to flip it a little bit, because there are women that are very similar as well. I've got a couple of friends. One of them is a bodybuilder. He's engaged, and he showed me some of the messages that he's been receiving from women. And I said to him, well, listen, there's two ways you can approach this. You can do the immoral thing and entertain them, even if it is a no thank you. That's still entertaining them. Or you could hit that block button.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it.
I get shocked when I speak to some men and I see what girls do, and because I don't do it, I'm like, what? Like, that's what women do. I'm on TikTok having their backs, and they're all behaving like this, and it's like, as far as I'm aware, my friends don't do that, but I probably do know a few that might. But it is shocking. I've never known. My daughter's dad was showing us some messages he gets off girls, and like, if he has ignored them, they'll send him nudes. And I'm like, and again, it's good for me and him can have that relationship, but I'm like, wow, is that what people do? And the worst thing is he's still blanker. And I was like, so what did you achieve by doing that? Scary.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, look, let me ask you a question about your pod then. What's your long-term vision for this?
Truthfully, I'm just going with it. I'm very much, I'm a believer in what'll be. And I'm not going to stop. I know that. I'm going to continue doing it. And eventually, I do want to be like a spokeswoman where I guide people. And someone actually asked us if I would go and go to school and speak there and give guidance. So doing things, it would be perfect for us, because, like I say, the generation, that just feels absolutely fucked at the minute.
Yeah, for sure.
At the minute, in kids vaping, I'm like, please don't do it. You've got media, I just want to vape, and it's just like, again, so easy to do. But to be honest, I want to guide my clients, and I do have a lot of younger ones, but it's for the next generation. I want to be that. I want to be like her. I had a young girl, for example. I've been doing her years now, and she's opened up to us, and she tell us about, she slept about, she was like, you know, and I do her and her mum, and her mum said to us, would you have a word with her? Anyway, she's a bit older now, she's in her 20s now, And she said to us, I just want to be like you. She was like, so she started doing courses and she started like to do like a self-employment. And I've told her the way you go with men is not by sleeping with them, you know, and like if a man only wants that from you, get rid of them. And now she's like, none. Total flipped because she spends time, and it's like she might have assumed she was opening and thinking I'd understand and stuff, and I didn't understand because I'd never done what she was doing. And I was saying like, no, don't do that. Men don't like this. Now tell her what men like. Because again, I've got a lot of men in my life who I've never slept with and I speak to, and I know, and that's what I want to do. I want to make sure like I'm going to keep my morals, and I'm going to continue to be me. And I like, you know, when you get these people like, well, I'm a good person and stuff, I generally know I am. And I know that because I know how lovely my daughter is. Everyone says she's just like you, she's got your heart. And not me little one, she's the devil. Hopefully I need to. But me all
Can't get it right all the time. Can't get it right all the time, sorry.
I look at her and she's a man as a lovely, and that's why I'm like, and I look at all our friends her age and she's so different, but she's just like I was. She doesn't follow the. And you know, you can still be in the cool gang. You can still have the cool friends. You don't need to do things just to fit in. And I want to make it, and especially as well growing up now, there's a lot of ADHD and autism diagnosed. And it's people need to feel comfortable where I've obviously got my daughter who's got ADHD and she's got autism, and the other side of the family's got a lot of autism. They didn't know where the ADHD come from. It turns out it's from mine. I'd never go and get a diagnosis and I never use it, and I'd never say I've got it. But what I have done is I've understood myself a lot more. While I'm learning about her, I'm learning to understand myself. And it's so easy for people to just like, what's that word, be vulnerable with these, like, so people have got ADHD now and they're like, well, I've got ADHD, I can do that. And they're so vulnerable into what they're going into, and they're following suit and they're doing naughty things. And I just want to guide them in that sense as well and say, don't do it. Use it as to be different in a good way, and, you know, don't do all these bad things. Go on.
I think it's, you know, mental health is being weaponized as well, because you do get a lot of people that kind of know the system, and I know that you can use that mental health side of things to get your own way, whether it be to manipulate a situation or to get one over on someone, or even to get yourself out of a difficult situation, because you do see it, especially in the press, or when a celebrity will do something, they'll be like, oh, well, he's got mental health, you know, so it's kind of, we all do, yeah.
Autism now, it's autism spectrum disorder. So it's about how far on the spectrum you are. And it's more like, it winds me up, you know. It really winds me up when I do see people, and it's like they want the child to have these diagnoses, and I feel like, going, live my life for 1 week and tell us again you want your child to have that. Because I would give everything for my daughter not to suffer the way she suffers. And I'll never say I suffer. This is why when people go, you blatantly got ADHD. No, I don't suffer like that. But I've got traits, so I understand. But then when I watch her and see how much she struggles, it's different, and it's used as a fashion sense now. And yeah, we might have went to school with a lot of people who probably have it, where you probably got the traits and stuff. But to live it like that, or people now use it as an excuse not to work, or, oh, well, I can't sit still. Which I tell you before I start, I can't really sit still. I don't sit. I'm always playing and stuff. But it's no excuse. If I need it, I sit and work all day. You know, like, I sit and do the same thing all day, and I don't go back, I can't do this. You know, you can, and it's not an excuse. And I think these days it is, and everyone wants it. Go on, Sarah.
Well, you know, people know how to work the system, unfortunately, but they're given license to do so. And manipulation is another thing, but that's another story for another time, I guess.
All say, yeah, I've got ADHD, I can't, yeah, and I talk dead fast, and then you could just put it on. You know, like, but real ADHD, my daughter, when she first took the medication, she was on medication younger, and we tried it again, which is off it now. She said to me, Ma'am, me head, and I went, what do you mean? She went, well, it's like I've got a path and there's normally loads of obstacles, but there's no obstacles today. And I was like, to get through the path she was talking about, and I was like, what a lovely way to put that as a 9-year-old girl. But I've got it on TikTok now, they go, Amy, mine's silent. And I'm like, I think you just think you've got to say that, because that doesn't really happen. Because like, one medication isn't going to just do that. Out of my experience with my daughter, and anyway, I wouldn't say so. But like I say, everyone's got it these days, haven't they? It's like, it's fashion.
Look, I think we all suffer from something, you know, whether it be mental health, whether it be, I don't know, a rash, you know, or I don't know, something. No one is perfect. But I think, I don't know whether maybe it's a UK thing or an American thing, but there is a lot of emphasis on mental health and awareness. And I'm pretty certain it's happening in various parts of Europe at the moment. And there are still parts of the world that are very ignorant towards it. But at the same time, I think, once again, going back to what I said before, there are people out there that, as you quite rightly said as well, they know how to work the system. They know how to use it as a tool to get their own way. And I think it's absolutely deplorable. But how can you sit there and say to someone, you're putting it on, when you don't know for sure?
I've deleted so many TikToks and stuff, in the sense of I want to say mental health. Like, if you're telling yourself you've got mental health, right, you're going to believe it. Stop telling yourself you're depressed. Stop saying you've got this, you've got that. I've got a client that has been, she's got this diagnosis of whatever mental thing she's got. She starts acting like it. It's like she's Googled the signs and symptoms and now she's behaving that way. And I've known her for a long time. She never ever used to behave like that. You want to tell me like that? She never ever behaved like that before. So I'm thinking, why are you doing that? Like, what? You never used to do that. I really don't get it. But
do you think it's attention seeking?
Yeah, I've got one client who is generally autistic, and you would never know. Never know. And I know two people growing up, two lads, actually there might have been 3, and they all had ADHD, and they all got like kicked out of school, whatever. And do you know, now as adults they deny having it. They all grow out of it, and I'm like, they've got it because they don't want to be known as having it. And this is why they go to me, Stacey, you're the most, because I always go, no, I haven't, I've definitely not. And they go, that's how you've got it, because you really don't want to believe you've got it. And I'm like, shut up, man, I've got no diagnosis, I've not got that. And I won't ever do it, because I'm 33. What would that achieve? It's not an excuse. Bad behaviour, and like, these people I know, they still know right from wrong. So it doesn't mean, just because you've got mental health, it doesn't mean you can go and abuse people or treat people bad in relationships and stuff. I think it's a massive con at the minute, but you totally need to be careful with what.
Well, no, listen, I agree with you. I agree with you. But the thing is, the reason why I agree with you is purely on the basis of what pharmaceutical companies are doing these days. Big Pharma runs everything. And again, that's a conversation for another time, I believe. Yeah. But I can go on all day about that, how Big Pharma are controlling practically everything. And, you know, they're trying to pump these drugs into kids, whether it be, I know they've stopped it they've banned it in England, but blockers, puberty blockers and all that kind of stuff. And again, another story for another time. But yeah, well, look, we've done 50 minutes, Stacey. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Before I let you go, I'm going to tell our listeners you can catch Stacey at Speaking with Stacey on Instagram, on TikTok. Those are the only 2 platforms you use, right?
And Spotify, but obviously it's just series 1. But series 2 is. I do need other people on, so you're more than welcome.
Hey, I'm here for it. And if anyone's watching that wants to be on Stacey's podcast, I'm going to put everything in the description. So the website, the Spotify link, everything's going to be there. So if people want to get in touch with you, it's all there.
Loads of people ask us to go on Apple. I just don't know how to do it. So I'm like, I will. Just give us time.
You need the RSS feed.
Right. Okay. I don't know what that is.
And then I'll help you with that. Don't worry about it. You let me know. Again, I'll give you a hand. All right, well, boys and girls, and thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget, we are on www.nc-network.com. If you want to get in touch with us or be part of the team, contact at ncnetwork.com. So until next time, boys and girls, bye from me and bye from my friend here.
Thank you.